Hi guys, I'm just picking up from where we left off yesterday, and this is me. I'm Michelle from Deception Bytes. I've got a book about dominionism that really kind of sheds some light on some things that are happening currently. I'm not appearing on webcam, at least this week, because I'm on vacation this week and I've been running around in my jammies, so rather not anyone see that. So anyway, I would like to say too, I would like to thank people that have been sending me comments. Some of them have been a little rude, but for the most part, there's been some really informative ones as well. And I want to draw your attention to an email that I received because I really did appreciate the spirit behind this guy. He said, I hope you don't view this as an attack. And I certainly did not. It was constructive criticism, and it provided me with information that I really was, I guess, aware of it, but I really was skipping over it and not taking it into consideration. And I will probably do an email, like a separate video on this subject by itself, but I wanted to touch on it briefly, and I'm thankful to this person. If I can get it pulled up here. Sorry. Where is it? Is it this? Is it this? Is it this? There we go. Got too many things open. He said, "Hi, Michelle. I really like your analysis of the Q posts. Very good work. I do take issue with your comments regarding North Korea, however. Please see this as constructive criticism and not an attack." And that's exactly how I did see it. I didn't see this as any sort of an attack. And I welcome anybody with additional information or extra comments or a different way of looking at it to write their comments below. North Korea has been a U.S.-created boogeyman for as long as I can remember, and I'm in my 50s, and it's being rolled out once again as a state to fear. And yes, I can see that as being true. First of all, if we ignore the childish stupidity of weapons in general and the war is a solution for anything, then I would ask you this. So what if North Korea has a nuke program? Doesn't the U.S., Israel, China, etc.? True, and I think the fear is that Kim is offside and may use the weapons to attack the United States. However, on the flip side, they should also have the right to defend themselves. And I don't necessarily agree with mainstream media's portrayal of Kim anyway, because when is mainstream media ever unbiased? When do they ever present a full picture of anything? It's always with a slant. So keeping that in mind, who was the only country to ever use such weapons during a conflict? And that was the United States. They're the only ones that have ever used a nuclear weapon, and that's true. Also, what has the U.S. done to North Korea during the Korean War? And do they still harbor resentment? They sure do. You might want to look into that. And I did spend a long time looking into this, and I may do a separate video on this. And I don't want to get too far off track because people have been castigating me for not staying on topic and getting off on rabbit tracks. I don't really believe that that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to provide a fuller picture, but I do realize that I get off track, and I'm trying to do better. Yes, they do still harbor resentment. There's no question about that. You also seem to believe the mainstream version of the Iran story, and I find these two things troubling. No, I don't. I don't believe the mainstream. I don't believe the mainstream version of anything. I really don't. If it came across that way, it's not so. Anyway, you're obviously a very smart lady, and as such, I would take issue with that. But anyway, no, I'm just kidding. And as such, I suggest you look deeper. Who is the key force behind the Middle East events going back many decades? It isn't the U.S., nor is it Iran. Who attacked the USS Liberty and then tried to cover it up? So there was a lot of things that he brought up there, and it's too much to get into right now because it is a little bit off track. It's still in the same vein of things, but it's a little bit off track from where we're headed. So I think I'll put that in a separate video for all you people that are annoyed with me for going off track. See, I listen. Okay. I got to go back down to where I was because I started this video, but I stopped it and restarted it again. Sorry. Well, we definitely must have gotten past here last time because it has the HUMA. Okay. Okay, now I know where we are. Sorry. Okay, so the next post is November 2nd, 2017, 2:47 a.m. And what a coincidence, the mountain that housed North Korea's nuclear weapon and testing collapsed. And indeed, it did collapse on October 31st. And I'm not going to take the time to go to this news article, but you can Google mountain collapse Korea, and you will, in North Korea, and you will find it. Unbelievable timing. I wonder if critically important materials, as well as scientists, aka bomb makers, were inside when it happened. That sounds a little bit tongue-in-cheek to me, and it actually killed 200 people. Yeah, I don't know. Shocking. No global news agency suspects we had nothing to do with it. Enjoy the crumbs. Here's another problem that I have. The grammar here. Now, of course, I have a master's in English, so of course I'm gonna point that out. And I don't mean to be picky, but I believe that Donald Trump is a very, very smart man. So I don't believe that he wrote this, because I don't believe that he would use a double negative. Because when you have a double negative, of course, if you remember from your school days, double negative makes a positive. So shocking, no global news agency suspects we had nothing to do with it, which actually means they suspect that he did have something to do. They expect that the U.S. did have something to do with it, which is not what he's saying here. But anyway, I think what he's saying is that mainstream media doesn't think the U.S. had anything to do with it, and he's saying, yes, we did. Now, please correct me below if I'm looking at this the wrong way, or if you have an alternate way of looking at this. Please put a comment below, because I am open to, nobody has the corner on truth here. We're all searching for the same thing. We're all trying to explore this together, and we will all come up with separate conclusions on some things, and that's all right. But let's push forward. The next one is, we serve at the pleasure of President Donald J. Trump. So that's self-explanatory. November 2nd, 3:01 a.m. These crumbs are not meant to scare anyone, but merely inform. Resistance will be dealt with swiftly. The core focus is removing entrenched and fortified bad actors within our federal government, past and present, as well as others. Simply be diligent. Phone numbers will be provided if you witness an uprising or other domestic violence, in addition to 911. Any military scene is for your protection, as well as to demonstrate our resolve. Watch for confirmation tomorrow. And that was November 2nd, and of course November 3rd was the Podesta indictment. So this person was correct. However, I want to ask you guys, because I'm not aware that any phone numbers were provided if we witness an uprising or other domestic violence. I'm not aware of that. But again, I'm temporarily in Canada, so I may not have seen this. And I would ask if anybody saw those provided, that they would just verify that for me, because I'm just not aware of it. So I'm not saying that they weren't provided. I'm saying that I'm not aware. So please make me aware if you are. We can move up from there, because I think all of these are attached to the next one. Okay. November 2nd, before POTUS departs on Friday, and of course he departed on his trip overseas, or to Asia, he will be sending an important message via Twitter. God bless. And I think the important message was that the DNC rigged the system to illegally, the DNC and Hillary rigged the system to illegally steal the primary from Bernie Sanders. So I think it's the next one that has all these little proofs are out to the side here. Hang on. November 2nd, 12:36 p.m. And he says, follow Huma. What just broke with Huma? And I'm going to read the whole thing, and then I'm going to go back to the little notes I have, okay? Follow Huma. What just broke with Huma? What did Hillary Rodham Clinton instruct Huma to do regarding classified markings? And right here, I'll just say she instructed Huma to remove them so that they could be transferred to a non-classified server and emailed to her personal email. As jaw-dropping as that is, and unbelievable. Why is this story now coming out? I'm not sure why it's just now coming out, but maybe the people that were preventing it from coming out no longer have the ability to hold it back. I don't know. If anyone else knows the answer to that, please put it in the comments below. What relevance does it have? Well, it's huge. It's freaking huge. I mean, colossal. I really can't believe that she would. I mean, there's two systems there. There's the classified system, and then there's the unclassified system. And the classified system, you have to have special clearance to get into that, and so forth. Well, she wanted to take that stuff that's classified and copy it into the unclassified server so she could email it to herself at home. How secure is that? I mean, how ridiculous is that? And so she instructed Huma, and as it turns out others, to remove the classified markings so that she could do that. It's actually unbelievable. It's just about as bad as Podesta having the word password as his password. Okay, I'll go on and I won't get all excited here. Why is Donna running for cover? And we'll get into that in a minute. Was a deal granted in exchange for something? Yes. Who made the deal? We'll get into that. Do we care about Donna? And that's Donna Brazil, or those who instructed her to violate the law? Why is this being leaked versus simply prosecuted privately? Who is attempting to change the narrative and soften the acts that are forthcoming this weekend? So I'm going to link here to a few things if my computer will cooperate. It's so slow. It's very frustrating. I'm hoping to update the RAM in a couple weeks. So, this is painfully slow, and I really apologize. Trying to close some things, but okay. Here's the news article. It's from the New York Post. And, okay. Clinton and her top aides has had access to a Pentagon-run classified network that goes up to the secret level, as well as a separate system used for top secret communications. And I missed this little part up here. The FBI is investigating whether members of Hillary Clinton's inner circle cut and pasted material from the government's classified network so that it could be sent to her private email address, former State Department security officials said. And then the two systems, the secret Internet Protocol Router Network and the Joint Worldwide Intelligence Communication System, are not connected to the unclassified system known as the Non-Classified Internet Router Network. You cannot email from one system to the other, though you can use NIPRN net to send emails outside the government. So that's why she did it. Somehow, highly classified information from SIPRN net, as well as even the super secure JWICS, jumped from those closed systems to the open system and turned up in at least 1,340 of Clinton's home emails, including several the CIA earlier this month flagged as containing ultra-secret, sensitive, compartmentalized information and special access programs, a subset of special compartmentalized information. Special access program includes dark projects such as drone operations, while secret compartmentalized information protects intelligence sources and methods. Okay, so, and you can go and read this for yourself. I don't want to belabor the point too much, but and there's about the tunnel collapse, but that was me. Okay. Okay, so Donna Brazil did it again, and this is from WikiLeaks today. She gave the questions to a debate to Hillary Clinton, and that was from a couple weeks ago. Happened again, but this time far worse. She gave the questions to the debate to Hillary Clinton. Now they're all blaming Donna Brazile. And frankly, I think she just got fired from the network. She should be fired from the DNC, Trump said at a rally in Michigan on Monday. So Donna Brazile was caught giving the answers in the debate, to giving answers to Hillary Clinton in advance so that she could prepare for them. That's something else that she has done. And unsurprisingly, President Donald Trump latched onto Brazile's and Warren's comments to take another swing at the woman he defeated in the general election. I don't think he's taking a swing at her, really. I don't. I think that most of the news sources are going to present this in a biased way. Anyway, unsurprisingly, President Donald Trump latched onto Brazile's and Warren's comments to take another swing at the woman he defeated in the general election, writing that the new Donna B. book says she paid for and stole the Democratic primary, which she did. She did. I don't have any doubt of that. From what I've looked into, that is the conclusion that I would come to. Pretty evident. Okay. This is the Trump tweet. Donna Brazile just stated that the DNC rigged the system to illegally steal the primary from Bernie Sanders, bought and paid for by crooked Hillary. I don't have a problem personally with him poking fun at her and calling her crooked Hillary, because she is. And I just don't. I mean, people get upset about that. That's not the problem that I have with Trump. This is real collusion and dishonesty, major violation of campaign finance laws and money laundering. Where is our Justice Department? And I would agree with him on that, totally. New Donna B. book says she paid for and stole the Democratic primary. What about the deleted emails, uranium, Podesta, the server, plus. The real story on collusion is in Donna B.'s new book. Crooked Hillary bought the Democratic National Convention and then stole the Democratic primary from crazy Bernie. The rigged Dem primary, one of the biggest political stories in years, got zero coverage on the fake news network TV last night. Disgraceful. Yeah. He's got a point. Okay. And this was published November 4th, 2 days after Q wrote this. Okay. And it's about Hillary buying control of the DNC, which she obviously did. Okay. Outrage after book claims Clinton campaign effectively bought control of the DNC before election. A new book from the former Democratic National Committee interim chair, Donna Brazile, says Hillary Clinton had been controlling elements of the DNC since long before the primary race ended. A document obtained by multiple news outlets shows how Clinton's campaign had a say in key Democratic decisions as early as 2015. Still, it's implicit in saying there was no attempt to get in the way of the DNC's obligation of impartiality and neutrality for the primaries. Both Democrats and Republicans criticize the arrangement now that it's come to light. Of course, Trump is going to say it one way, and the mainstream media is going to say it another way. And somewhere in the middle, we've got the truth. There's always, one side, the other side, and the truth. And I don't know exactly where that truth is, but I do believe with all my heart that Hillary bought the nomination. I have no question about that. The arrangement with Clinton's campaign, Brazile said, was not illegal, but it sure looked unethical. If the fight had been fair, one campaign would not have control of the party before the voters had decided which one they wanted to lead. This was not a criminal act, but as I saw it, compromised the party's integrity, and I would agree with that. So multiple organizations reported Friday on a 2015 document outlining a formal agreement by which Clinton's campaign would help the DNC with money in exchange for a certain say in how the organization was run. So here we have it, right here. Even mainstream media is saying this. Multiple organizations reported Friday on a 2015 document outlining a formal agreement by which Clinton's campaign would help the DNC with money in exchange for a certain say in how the organization was run. Here are the terms of the deal according to a memorandum obtained by NBC News between former DNC CEO Amy Dacey and Robbie Mook, who is the campaign manager of Hillary for America. And I don't know if, I will never get through Q's posts if I read everything and get into everything, but I would, if you're interested, please, look up this article. It's on CNBC. Outrage after book claims Clinton campaign effectively bought control of the DNC before election. So I'll leave that for now. And we will go on. Just make sure we got it all here. And we did. So we'll go up here. Now, this is starting to get to some really interesting stuff, and that I found. I don't even know how to put it into words, because it literally shocked me to my core. I knew something was off with the whole uranium-1 thing and all that, but I really hadn't looked into it in depth. And anyway, let's get to it. November 2nd, and again, I'm going to go through this and then we'll get into, the information to support it. Why is the information regarding Barack Obama important regarding the uranium-1 and export approval to Canada to European Union? Where is Barack Obama today? Did Barack Obama and or his administration ever make false statements? That uranium-1 would never be exported from the U.S.? Yes, he did. Who made those statements? Who did they report to? Why is this relevant? The public has been given a select taste, i.e. sampling. Rest assured, others have it all, 100% verifiable and impossible to refute. Why is this relevant? Who controls the narrative? And I said mainstream media. Why are left-wing organizations beginning to report on DNC/Democratic corruption? Because they have no choice, I think. Does the CIA have operators inside the mainstream media? Absolutely they do. I think most of us have known that for a very long time. What happens if exposed? Well, there'll be a public outcry and backlash. What happens if tied back as knowing to execs? Well, they'll be held accountable, I would think, and held culpable. What does this have to do with leaking? What if it can be verified? No source stories made up were in fact and approved to be published. The wormhole goes deep. And that's it for that. So let's get into this. Okay, why is the information regarding Barack Obama important regarding uranium-1 and export approval to Canada, to EU? Okay, I gotta find. Okay, the nuclear deal, which ultimately resulted in the transfer of 20%, 20%, a fifth of American uranium to Russia so that they could sell it back to the U.S. nuclear plants at an enormous profit, was approved by the Obama administration after significant donations in excess of $140 million were made to the Clinton Foundation by Uranium-1 affiliates. Imagine that. 20% of American uranium to Russia so they could sell it back to us at enormous profit. And it was approved by Obama administration after significant donations were made to the Clinton Foundation. $140 million. Interesting. And, okay, Attorney General Jeff Sessions has directed senior federal prosecutors to investigate issues pertaining to the controversial sale of uranium-1, according to a letter from the Department of Justice exclusively obtained by Fox News. Multiple congressional committees have called for an investigation into the Obama-era deal that resulted in a Russian company purchasing American uranium mines. The Justice Department previously lifted a gag order on former FBI informant who is expected to have more information regarding the agreement that allowed Russia to control about 1/5 of the uranium mining in the U.S. and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton's involvement in it. The request came at the behest of many Republican lawmakers. Now, Sessions has cleared the way for an appointment of a special counsel to oversee an investigation into the deal. However, the Justice Department noted that it does not confirm active investigations. The controversial sale of what is now uranium-1 to a Russian company is what President Trump has called the real Russia story. As federal investigators continue to probe Russia's alleged involvement in the 2016 election, The Hill reported that Russian officials engaged in racketeering scheme to further its energy goals in the U.S. And I agree with Trump there. I think this is the real Russia story, and it's the whole election thing of them tampering in the election is smokescreen. It's a red herring. That's what I would believe. And Canada is involved because apparently this company belonged to Canada, and I'm not exactly sure there. It was Canadian. Now, how it ended up, I guess it was sold to the U.S. I'm not sure. But if anyone knows the answer to that, please put it in the comments below. It is very, very, very interesting. And yes, Barack Obama and or his admin did make statements that the uranium-1 would never be exported from the U.S. Now, we looked at that. Okay, through the deal, Russia is able to own about 20% of U.S. uranium production capacity. However, Colin Chilcote, an energy affairs specialist who has written extensively about Russia's energy deals, said that the company only extracts about 11% of uranium in the U.S. So, don't know about the truth of that, but even 11% is too much. Okay, why is it controversial? Republicans have largely decried the deal, especially as some investors reportedly donated millions of dollars to the Clinton Foundation. Former President Bill Clinton also received a $500,000 speaking fee in Russia and reportedly met with Vladimir Putin around the time of the deal. The FBI has looked into the agreement and uncovered some Russian nuclear industry officials who were engaged in nefarious dealings, which included extortion, bribery, and kickbacks. The Hill reported evidence of wrongdoing by Vadim Mikarin. Not sure if I pronounced that right, so forgive me. The Russian official overseeing Putin's nuclear expansion in the U.S., who was eventually sentenced to prison, was discovered by the FBI before the deal was approved, according to The Hill. All very interesting. It just gets curiouser and curiouser. It really does. Let me see. This involves going back out to the internet, and I hate that because it's so slow. It's not my internet that's slow, it's my computer. I've got very high-speed internet. It's like waiting for paint to dry. Okay, and here we have uranium-1 deal led to some exports to Europe, memos show. So, yeah, it was a Canadian mining company. I knew that. Let me see. After the Obama administration approved the sale of a Canadian mining company with significant U.S. uranium reserves to a firm owned by the Russian government, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission assured Congress and the public the new owners couldn't export any raw nuclear fuel from America's shores. Oh, really? Really? Is that so? No. Okay, this is getting on my last nerve. No uranium produced at either facility may be exported. Oh gosh, okay, I'm gonna have to get out of here. Okay. suffice it to say that they did, assure that no uranium was going to leave the U.S. shores, but that's not what happened. So I think that that's the whole point of that, all that. Why is that relevant? Well, why wouldn't it be relevant? My gosh, we're supplying our enemies. How do we know that what Russia's doing with it? We're probably supplying our enemies with uranium. Okay, and then Q says, the public has been given a select taste sampling. Rest assured, others have it all. 100% verifiable and impossible to refute. Why is this relative? Who controls the narrative? I believe the mainstream media is still controlling the narrative, even now. And that should be in red because that's my comments. I left Q's comments in black and put mine in red so that there'd be no mistaking. Why are left-wing organizations beginning to report on DNC Democratic corruption? I think it's getting so far out of hand, and there's so much information out there and so much proof out there that they really have no choice without really letting everyone know how biased they are. Because a lot of the people out there really look to mainstream media as their source of news and are not aware of how biased it truly is. So what does this have to do with leaking? What happens if tied back as knowing to execs? Well, they'd be held culpable, I would believe. There'd be a public outcry, a backlash. What does this have to do with leaking? I'm not sure. I think it's obvious that there are CIA operatives in mainstream media. So that's probably who's leaking this stuff to the media. And perhaps both sides are leaking. There's the Republican, what's happening with Donald Trump. He's trying to clean house, or so he says, and I pray that that's what he is doing. And I do believe he is cleaning house. I just happen to personally believe he's doing it for the wrong reason. So anyway, what if it can be verified no source stories made up were in fact and approved to be published? I don't know. The wormhole goes deep. Indeed it does. Indeed it does. If anyone else has additional insight into this particular post, just a second, my phone, gotta turn off my phone, sorry. If anyone has additional information into this particular post, please put the information into the comments below. I do read them. I may not always be able to respond to every single one. I do have other responsibilities, but I do read them. Okay. November 2nd, 1:08 p.m. You can paint the picture based solely on the questions asked. Be vigilant today and expect a major false flag. That was November 2nd, and Sunday, November 5th was the church shooting. And I've seen several places now where they're saying that the FBI was involved in that shooting. I don't know. I haven't fully looked into that yet. I don't doubt that. I don't know. But I am going to look into that and maybe do that as a separate video. But it's interesting anyway that how would somebody know in advance of it happening if it wasn't planned? That's my thing. Does anyone find it to be a coincidence that there's always a terrorist attack when bad news breaks for the Democrats? No, I've noticed that before. What is that called? Distraction. You're looking over here at something that's not even real. And over here, they're doing their thing. So, yeah. Military relevant, how? I don't know. I don't know what he means by that. Military relevant, how? Barack Obama could not and would not allow the military to destroy ISIS. That's a fact. That is a fact. And I think we all knew that. He was supplying them with weapons. And yeah, let me see here. I think I have. Well, I'll go down to the bottom and then I'll get off on my other little tangents here. How was ISIS formed? When? How has POTUS made such progress in the short time he's been president? That's a good question. Alice and Wonderland. Okay. Let's There's several interesting things in this post. There really are. First of all, I would say is this one. And I'm not going to go out to the actual internet to bring up this news article because it takes so long, and I honestly, it would drive me crazy if someone was doing that in a video and it was taking that long to get to it. The U.S. lost track of $1 billion in weapons, and they might end up in ISIS hands. How do you lose track of $1 billion in weapons? No, really, how? Seriously. And I think we pretty much know that how ISIS was formed and who was behind it. And here's an article here. Again, I wish that I could go out to it, and I am hoping to get some more RAM in there in the next. I may cannibalize another computer that I have and stick the RAM from that in this one as well to upgrade it. So anyway, this one says America created Al-Qaeda and the ISIS terror group. And I believe that personally. I've believed that for a very long time. That's nothing new to me. And I think that any of us that have been awake, and I'm not saying, someone said something about you're not as awake as you think you are. Well, we're all in the process of finding the truth. And yes, we all have information that other people may not have come to that, that conclusion yet or whatever. But, generally, yes, I have been awake. And I've known about the U.S. tie to ISIS, and it always seemed strange to me that we weren't really doing anything during the Barack Obama years to deal with ISIS at all. And yet, as soon as Donald Trump takes office, in the short time, we've almost wiped ISIS out. There's got to be something to that. So I do hand it to him. He is doing that. And it's interesting because ISIS really went after the Christians in these nations, and it pretty much wiped them out in some nations. Okay, now, I already went over that. Alice in Wonderland. I would like somebody to, if they know what this is, let me know. I think I know what it is, but I don't know how it ties in. And, well, let's go back to CERN. CERN, okay, I'm going to have to go to this one because this is really critical. Alice in Wonderland. I notice he says Alice and Wonderland, not Alice in Wonderland. And this is actually very important, so it's worth the wait to get to pull it up. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Oh, it's pulling up everything. Crap. Well, let me try to, I should have just kind of put it in there and not done a link to it. But, and maybe in the next video, I'll come back to this. But CERN, there's an article out there, and it has both CERN and Wonderland in it. And Alice is referencing something at CERN. So I'm going to get the information because I've already forgotten about it, to tell you the truth, all the details of it, because I've looked at so much from the time that I woke up this morning till now. I've looked at so much information, and I've sifted through so many news articles that I just can't keep absolutely everything straight. So I will come back to that on the next video. And let's go up here. I think I'm going to break really soon after this, because, you know, I try to make these as short as I can, but they're getting to be too long. November 2nd, 2017 at 1:44 p.m. What is Q clearance? That's the highest level clearance. What hint does that explicitly refer to? I'm not sure. And then he says Department of Energy. Well, the Department of Energy does have Q clearance, but I know that that's not the only department that has Q clearance. As far as I've studied, if I'm wrong, please again correct me. Who would have the goods on uranium-1? Well, someone with special clearance who could enter the secret compartmentalized information facilities. Because remember, Barack Obama made some of this stuff classified when it really shouldn't have been, so that other people couldn't have access to it. And you would have to have special clearance to kind of put everything together, because some of the information was kept at normal facilities, and then some of it, which really should not have been classified, were kept at these secret compartmentalized information facilities. Or it's not secret, it's actually secured. I always call it secret. It's secured compartmentalized information facilities. So that would mean that somebody would need Q clearance to be able to look at that stuff. Does stating Q refer that person works in the Department of Energy? It might. It might, because they do have Q clearance, but I don't think it necessarily means that. I think that there are others with Q clearance, but I could be wrong. And please correct me, someone, if I am wrong. I've been wrong before, and I'll probably be wrong again. Does it refer to someone dropping such information? Does it refer that someone dropping such information has the highest level of security within all departments? Yes, most certainly, yes, it does. Why is this relevant? Because only somebody with top clearance would be able to access the info kept in those facilities. And like I said, Barack Obama made sure that it was classified, even though it should not have been, so that it would limit who would have access to it. Now, May 2010, Barack Obama, Russia, okay, this is, oh, no, that is from Q, sorry. At first I thought this was one of my notes, but it isn't. It is actually from Q. May 2010, Barack Obama, quote, Russia should be viewed as a friendly partner under Section 123, the Atomic Energy Act of 1954. End quote. After agreeing to a new nuclear weapons reduction deal and helping U.S. with Iran. Who is the enemy? Well, traditionally, we've always been told that Russia is the enemy. What is being continually stated by all Democrats? That Russia is the enemy. Russia is what? The enemy. What did the Russia reset really provide? And then he tells us, really, clearance pathway to complete the uranium-1 deal. Yes, that's exactly what it provided. And he's giving us the answers here. He's feeding it to us. And so the Russia reset provided clearance and pathway to complete the uranium-1 deal. Now, why is the Canadian Prime Minister so important? I do not know that. I should know that as a Canadian, but I don't. And again, if anyone knows, please, I'm very interested in this and I want to know. So if anyone has that information, please leave a comment below. And then he says they never thought they were going to lose. That's true. They never thought they were going to lose. The calm before the storm. So I'm going to leave it there for right now, because I think that we've gone far enough for here. And we'll get into more in a later video. I may kind of do a video on the side about North Korea and about the false flag in the church shooting. I don't know. Or I may just continue going on with this. We're behind in these posts, so I'm thinking I need to push through and get through that because, just because it's important to be up to date on it. So anyway, thank you all. If you like what you hear and want to come along on the journey, then like and subscribe, and I will talk to you later.